Hey guys, welcome back. This is the finals for Pokemon Perfect's RBY OU qualifier number 1 between HML AM and Louna. We just watched a marathon 182 turn game 1 that came down to the wire and could have even in the late game gone either way, but it went the way of HML AM. He's got the lead in this best of 5 set, and we are back for the second game. We'll switch sides for continuity, so it'll again be Louna on the bottom and HML on the top. We've got a Zam and a Starmie lead respectively, and it's going to become a Chansey on Starmie. Turn 1 Thunder Wave going to happen here. And then a Surf crit, which is interesting. Maybe he thought there'd be a switch there. Maybe he's just trying to put some amount of pressure on the Chansey, but it's all going to be negated by a Soft Boiled. And a Thunderbolt is going to come down pretty hard here for 46% and a para. And at this point, HML has had enough, and he gets out of the way. We end up with Lax on Lax. Going to be Reflect from HML. Body Slam coming down 25%, and Reflect from Louna as well. Body Slammed 14%, way less because the Reflect Ice Beam comparable damage here, but of course it has the added benefit of having that 10% chance for a BS Freeze. And speak of the devil, there's a BS Freeze on just the second attempt. Chansey going to be frozen by Luna's Ice Beam, and that is bad news bears for HML, who is clearly behind because a freeze in this gen is more or less permanent, and that Chansey, other than fodder, is basically useless because of that. So more or less a 6-5 advantage for Louna because of that 10% freeze. We'll see if HML can dig himself out of it. He's not in SPL for nothing. He obviously knows what he's doing. He understands that freezes are a part, even if they're a crappy part, of this gen that he chooses to play. So we'll see if he can dig himself out of this situation. But so far, this game is looking pretty nice for Louna. He finds a crit and a Specs drop there. The freeze obviously matters. And definitely some things are happening that are benefiting him. Here comes Lax. And that's going to be immediately put back to sleep via the sleep powder. And Tauros is going to come in to try to do some punishment, but Alakazam is probably going to deter him. And we end up with Starmie on Chansey. Starmie faster, obviously. They're both parried. Recover gets off. The probable Thunderbolt there does not. Soft Boiled off on the following turn, and Eggs is going to trade with the Chansey from 100% via Explosion, and that's going to leave us in an air quote 5-5 situation. But remember, one of those 5 for HML is the Frozen Chansey, and that's going to come in now against the Lax, who simply goes for Rest. Alakazam versus Tauros once again. Neither one loved the matchup before. This time HML is okay with the matchup. Stays in, goes Psychic, then Seismic Toss. And Alakazam is going to be Stun Spored by Louna. He's now going to eat a Psychic, no problem, no crit, no Specs drop. Way more damage back from Seismic Toss. And great use of the fodder for HML. Sniffs out the Explosion and ends up trading the Eggs for the useless Chansey. And just like that, we've got ourselves an even game again. HML, via the outplay, is going to make great use of his fodder and is going to get himself right back in this game. In fact, he's now in the lead after winning the Tauros Ditto there. Luna's got to be frustrated. He had some pretty good luck early on in this game, and this game has completely turned around on him. You've got to think that HML at this point has a clear advantage. Yeah, I mean, we don't know the last poke for Louna. He could have a last poke zap or something waiting in the wings that could do some big damage here. That's absolutely possible, but... Or maybe he busted out his Sand Slash again that he won in the previous round with, which is a... I mean, hey, if it works, right? If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Maybe if it worked once, it can work again. I'm not counting him out. RBY can be very, very wonky sometimes, but HML seems clearly in the lead from what I can tell. There's an opportunity there for a crit, but it didn't come. There's the last poke. And, well, it just got self-destructed on, so even though it lived, I don't think it's doing much. And in fact, the last poke, Articuno, does actual nothing. It literally doesn't get a single attack off. It is killed by the self-destruct and then the final follow-up body slam before it gets to do a single thing. Would have been cool to see the Articuno in action, but it is not to be. And we've got ourselves a 2-3 situation now as we are once again in the late game grind that RBY can be. Alakazam on Alakazam, there's a lot of BS in this matchup. There's full paras, there's Specs drops, there's crits. all sorts of nonsense that can happen in this matchup, but perhaps the right play for either or both of them is to play for it. They both have a specs drop now. There's a crit from HML and a specs drop and a full para, so that turn was overwhelmingly favorable for HML. Starmie is going to sneak in on the Alakazam recover. And yeah, full para a couple times in a row there, unfortunately. But now full para kicks in for Starmie. Surf, and hey, full para. Welcome to RBY, boys and girls. Reflect gets off here. That's almost, yeah, I mean, at this point, that's exclusively for the Tauros. The Starmie and the Zam are obviously not going to have physical moves. And a BS opportunity there. Either a crit or a full para would have been bad for the Lax, but he gets the rest off. And Starmie's going to switch it up to Thunder Wave. And he's going to Thunder Wave again. Body Slam, 34%. Starmie here could die if he gets parried and the Lax does not, but that is not what happens. Surf for 27%. Body Slam back. Starmie again in danger of potential death, but he gets the recover off. And it's actually the Lax that's fully paralyzed. However, now the Starmie gets its turn at being fully paralyzed. That is just the way it goes. A lot of RNG going on here. A lot of things could happen for either guy. Lax should win the matchup most of the time. But again, when they're both paralyzed, when crits are everywhere in this gen, stuff can happen. There's a crit Surf. Hey, had he crit him right there, had there been full para, Lax would have been dead just like that. That's just the way this gen goes. Lax was forced to rest. There's another crit. Once again, the Lax could be dead here. And Luna's not going to chance it. As it turns out, Starmie was fully paralyzed, and the Lax could have gotten the rest off, but he has no way of knowing that. And there is the Psychic. There is the Surf. Alakazam here with an obvious recover turn is going to go for that. And full para kicks in for the Starmie. But now Alakazam is fully paralyzed. The Starmie does get its recover off. Psychic 21%. Surf 28%. And finally, we're back to Alakazam on Alakazam. Psychic with a Specs drop on the way in for good measure. But it's followed up by a full para and a Specs drop right back. And we are back to this. Starmie comes in on the recover turn. Not a great position for Louna. He's going to have to catch some breaks here, or something's going to take big damage from the Starmie. Lax tries to sneak in right now, and he does get in, but he gets donked by a critical hit, and that leaves Louna with only the Alakazam, who's going to have to catch a lot of luck to get out of this. Louna is not mathematically dead. There are things that can happen here. There are sequences of full paras and misses or whatever that can occur here, but Luna's going to need to catch a lot of RNG breaks in order to get out of this situation. It's not looking good. First thing he has to do is get through the Starmie. So far, that is not going super well, but it can be done. Alakazam on Alakazam. HML is ideally fishing for Specs drops because Louna has lost the ability to switch out of those since he's down to his last poke. So he's trying to get him with a couple Psychics, trying to get those drops. So far, he has not found one. He's playing it safe. He's recovering. He's also PP stalling Louna out. We're not quite at that point yet. He still has quite a bit of PP, but nevertheless, it all matters when he only has one Pokemon to work with. And Louna has to play it very safe. He has to recover and not get himself revenge killed by the unparalyzed Tauros here. And a Specs drop kicks in, which is really bad. There's no way to remove that, but I mean, that's why HML is playing for it. Here's another Psychic. There's another Seismic Toss. He'll need 2 of those for the kill. And he doesn't even go for it there. That's a recover. But there's a second full para in a row. So there will be another opportunity here if there's a third full para or a speed tie victory. But neither one comes for Louna. And running recovers from HML is going to bail him out of that and deny Louna whatever opportunity he might have just had. Starting to look grim here. Taking a look at the PP. He's down to 7 Psychics. He's got plenty of recovers. He's got the 13 Seismic Tosses, and then the last move is almost certainly Thunder Wave, which does not help him in this situation. It's relevant one time and one time only against the Tauros. Against the other 2 pokes that are already paralyzed, who cares? And another Specs drop. That's the 3rd one. Alakazam is being ravaged by the Specs drops. And he does not win the speed tie once again. And recover once again gets off for HML. I think a forfeit is coming pretty soon. He is getting very low on PP with which to actually kill things. And he's got all those Specs drops adding up. Louna is not ready to concede. It is absolutely his prerogative to play this out. It's the finals. Maybe he gets a miraculous streak of luck, but it does not happen here. Finally, Alakazam gets the knockout on its counterpart for HML. This one, quite a bit more one-sided, if you will, than the other. It wasn't a one-sided game per se, but the other one was a lot closer. This one felt like HML was ahead for a lot of it, especially after he got the Executor to blow up on his already frozen Pokemon. So with that, HML is going to have a 2-0 lead, and he is going to be just one game away from being the champion of this RBY tournament. We will see if he can close his opponent out or if Louna can mount the comeback. Game 3 is coming up next. Leave me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this game.